Well, the artery would have blown and I probably would have had an aneurysm, obviously, and filled my lungs with blood and died. If I hadn't have got the surgery there, probably would have died waiting here.
Bruce, a patient from Manitoba, sat down with secondstreet.org and told us how he almost died waiting for surgery. In April of 2024, Bruce went to his doctor as he frequently found himself short of oxygen and was concerned. Unfortunately, after that appointment, no one got back to him. So Bruce went across the border to Minnesota in May to have his heart looked at, and they discovered a serious blockage and recommended that he have surgery soon. Bruce returned in July for that surgery. It wasn't until September, 6 months after Bruce had met with doctors in Manitoba, that he finally heard back from them. The call actually took place while Bruce was driving back down to Minnesota for a follow-up checkup on the surgery that he had already had down there.
When I was going back for my follow-up checkup, they called me about getting me in to talk about how serious my situation was 6 months later, and then schedule a surgery 6 months out. And I said, well, if it's so serious, why am I going to be waiting almost a year until you do something? What if it blows? They said, well, stay on your meds. Well, if I only need meds to keep alive, why do I need surgery? They couldn't explain any of that.
Having to leave the country for heart surgery came at great financial cost to Bruce. Luckily, he was able to afford it, but others may not be so lucky. There's a simple policy solution that can help here. Canada could adopt a policy that countries in Europe with universal access already have. In the European Union, they put patients first and give them the right to be reimbursed for the cost of medically necessary appointments and surgery in other countries that are part of the European Union. Reimbursements cover up to the same amount the patient's government would have spent to provide surgery and health services locally. Ultimately, copying the EU policy would give Canadian patients like Bruce hundreds of options in other provinces or countries around the world, instead of being stuck waiting for their home province to get back to them. Canadian patients could be allowed to go to the US, Europe, Japan, Australia, and so forth. Those who decide not to travel for treatment would also benefit. After all, they would move up a spot in line every time someone ahead of them does decide to travel.
Well, don't assume that we have health care. It doesn't hurt to be your own advocate.
You can learn more about the Cross-Border Directive and healthcare reform at secondstreet.org. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.